For this objective, we are creating pivot tables. So one thing to know about pivot tables is that they really help you in organizing your data sets in a way that is cleaner and a whole lot more simple and makes sense to especially someone who did not create the table with you. So it's really, really comes in very handy when it comes to data presentation. If you guys would remember from the assignment that you submitted and from the worksheet that I gave you for the last module, the data set can have a lot of information in there, and it might take a little bit time for somebody who is not familiar with it to kind of make sense of it. So that's one of the things the pivot table does help you in just cleaning things up. But most especially, it does help you in doing some kind of basic analysis, and it does it in such a way in a much better way than, let's use for example, trying to pull up the way that we filtered and sorted your data set. The pivot table does that, but in a much simpler and cleaner way. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But to do so, we are going to go to our data set and kind of set the scene with that. So data sets, we're still doing using the same data set of health insurance coverage. And remember, this is the question. And in this question, based off on learning objective 1, we had 5 variables that focused on socioeconomic distribution and 5 variables that focused on health healthcare insurance. So that's quite a lot of information there, and which gives us a lot of room to kind of dig deeper into our data and our research to try to figure out things or to create sub questions. For instance, I could want to, using this data set, ask, question of what is the average out of pocket payments by race and educational level, meaning I want to know what the average out of pocket payment is by race. How are the different races uh, paying for out of pocket? I want an average of that, and also looking at it from the educational level perspective. So to answer this question, this sub question, I need only 3 variables to figure that out. My main variable of interest is the average amount of out of pocket payments paid on medical care. So this is the thing that I'm interested in. This variable. I need the average of this variable. So that is why it will look like an average of the average, but it's average of the variable name. So just to be sure, to be clear, when I say average out of pocket payments, I'm looking for the average of this variable. If this had been a different variable, it will have average whatever the variable name is. So for this question, I'm interested in what is the average of the average amount of out of pocket payment, with this being the name of the variable, so that don't you guys don't get confused about that. And then I need the race variable, and I need the highest educational level variable. So now let's go to the data set and try to kind of make sense of that. So this is the data set, and right now we need to create a pivot table. Now, to create a pivot table, you go to Insert and select Pivot Table, and you have the option of creating a new sheet or creating an existing sheet. Always use new sheet because it really gives you a clean presentation, and also you don't end up messing up your data set, because you kind of want to preserve the sacredness of your data set and not have a situation whereby you may end up making some mistakes that is going to affect how your data is going to look. So always choose to create a new sheet. And this is A1 to K23, K22, just to be sure that we all have our data or capture. This is K22, so we are all good. Everything is fine. So we go and create the pivot table and go create a new pivot table. So we can rename this pivot table to reflect what it is that we're looking for. So this is the average out-of-pocket payment by race and education. Remember, your Google Sheet or your Excel has endless number of sheets that you can create. So renaming it is a way to make it easy for you to find. So now we've created the pivot table. Let's put in our information, our variables, and our value. Remember, my key area of interest is let me show you guys. My key area of interest is the average amount of out-of-pocket payment. So the um, this is going to be the variable that is going to go into the value portion of it. So let's go back to the data set. So this is the variable and we put it in the value. So remember, we're interested in the average of it. So which means we change this summarized by, we change it to average so that it gives us that number in average rather than in sum. Because if you leave it in sum, it's just going to add up everything together. But that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in the average of it. So, and then we're interested in race, and we're interested in highest level of education. Now you can put race and highest level of education in different, put one in row and put one in column, or you can put them both in the same place. I'm sorry. You can put them in row and what happened? All right. So you can put them. It doesn't seem. Sorry, I don't know. Let's go. I don't know what happened. There's race. My race goes here, and educational level goes here. Yeah. So you can put them in the same row, or you can put them in the same column, depending on what it is that how you want it. But in terms of organization, it's always best to put them in separate, put in row and put in column. This way is a whole lot more cleaner. So now let us, we have all the information that we need for this pivot table. Everything is all here. So the next thing to do is to clean up your pivot table and make it nice and clean. So you need to do a little bit of formatting so that is, well presented. Let's change up make it bolder. Let us put some border. Let's put border and let's wrap the text. Let's wrap up the text, put this centralized. Let's wrap the text up. And okay, so I don't want to wrap this. We can leave it here, but I don't want to wrap it up because of what it's going to do with that. Sorry, remove it. All right, so, and then let me, fix the, what's it called? Let me fix the size, sorry, the height and the width, just to kind of clean it up a little bit so that it all looks nice and clean. And let's clean this up a little bit and just kind of sort it all out to look nice and clean. And let's see, you have your grand total. Now let's just clean this up, go to format and put all the numbers in, kind of put that all clean. So you see all our information is here. From this table, we can figure out that sorry, let me change this up a little bit. We can figure out that our sorry. Yeah, so we know that for our race, in terms of race, we have some people at 8th grade that are Asian and some college that are Asian, but we don't have anyone that's doctorate and Asian. We can get that information out of this pivot table that we've created because the blank cells are the ones that is telling us that there are no participants that fit in with this in our data set. So this is very, very clean. Our information is very, very well sorted out. So this is lovely and nice. So this is a nice way of, transforming this whole information here into a much cleaner version of, making sense of it all. So now let's do the similar thing with Google, with Excel, just to show you what that looks like. So this is Excel. Sorry, am I right? Correct? Yes, this is Excel. The right one. No, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sharing the right one. Just give me a minute. Let me share the window. I'm in the wrong window. Let's see. Okay, got it. I'm in the right window now. So here we go. So this is the Excel file. So now let us create the pivot table in Excel. So to do that, create the pivot table in Excel. You go to Insert. You see the pivot table where it tells you pivot table. There's a recommended here. I don't go here. I wouldn't advise you guys to do that because you might get lost, and I don't want to take you here. So always use the first one until you get more familiar with using Excel. So use the first one. But before you do, make sure that your cursor is in one of the cells within the data. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message, which you don't want. So we have the cursor in one of the cells. We go to pivot table, and Excel is very good in demonstrating for us, letting us know that we have all your data is all captured, you're all good to go. So let us again choose a new worksheet, and it's created, and go back and rename it. Also, average by race and education. You will notice something where Excel differs from Google Sheets. Your Google Sheets creates your new sheets by the right hand side, while Excel does it by the left hand side. So just to be aware of how that goes. So once again, our variable of interest is this one, and that we want it in value. So we take that and drop it there. Go back, always remember to change it because we're interested in average, not sum. So go back here and change it to average. You will see that the custom name that is to come up with is average of, and the reason is because this is the variable name, and this is the information that we are interested in. So don't get that mixed up or get a bit confused about why it says average of average. The reason it does that is because this is the variable name, and this is the calculation or computation that we're trying to do. So that's okay. And we want our highest education in column, and we want our race in row. So also all sorted. We can, as same, go here and organize it a little bit. So let's format it. Right click, format cell, and number. We want it to decimal places. And let me just select everything so that I can just change everything to decimal places. And I'll clean it all up. And we have this as well. So we can also do the same thing in terms of cleaning it up and formatting it and having everything look all nice and clean. In terms of formatting, can narrow this a little bit. And same thing that's done here. Let's see. Let's wrap up the text. And it's a little bit of work to do there. And let's put some lines to it. And that's it. Is organized in the same way that we had our Google Sheets all organized. So that is a way of doing that. Now, I also want to show you how to create. I want to create a second pivot table. I'm creating the second pivot table because I'm going to use it in the thought learning objective. Let's go get to that. Second pivot table. So the second pivot table is going to look at the average out-of-pocket payment, but instead of race and education of level, we're interested in this as the adequacy of insurance coverage and insurance type. So we're still using the same variable of interest being average amount of out-of-pocket payment, and but instead of race we're looking at adequacy of insurance coverage, and instead of highest educational level we're looking at type of insurance. So let's go back and create a second pivot table in Google Sheet as well as in Excel. So let's go to Google Sheet and create a data let's create one here. So now we go back to our what is it called, our data set. We go back to our data set, and once again you go to insert pivot table, new sheet, and go and rename that to be average OPP by type of insurance and coverage adequacy. Let's just leave it at that. So we have our two, and once again, amount of average goes here where we go and switch that to average. And then instead of highest level of education, let's put type of insurance here. And instead of race, let's put adequacy of insurance here. So that is what we have. We're all done with that pivot table, and let us clean it all up once again, so that everything is all nice and clean and sorted out. So here, let's see. All right, so fix that, format it. Let's all get that looking nice and clean here. And then number, plain number, all nice and clean. So this tells us, is asking us question of in terms of how many people on out-of-pocket payments say that their insurance coverage is adequate, in terms of average number of expenses, out-of-pocket expense for those who say no, their average is not, their insurance is not adequate, and that's for that. So that's all clear in terms of that. So we have that all looking nice and clean here. Let's see, let's get this also all nice and clean. So we have our information. So what we can see from this is that everybody who is on out-of-pocket payment says that the insurance coverage is not adequate, and then you have some kind of difference between those in private and those who are in public. So let us also put the borders so that is easy to tell. So that is our second pivot table. Now let's create same pivot table for the for Excel. Let's do that for Excel. So let's go into Excel and create a second pivot table. So now we go back once again to our data sets. Remember to always make sure you're clicking on any of the cells within the data sets and insert pivot table once again. Yes, new one. Go back, rename it into average OPP by insurance type and coverage adequacy. Sorry. Now this one doesn't let me. That should be possible to. Okay, won't let me go any further with that bit of a. So now let's put in our values in the right places, our variables in the right places. Average goes into value, Once again, go to value field setting and change that to average. Adequacy of insurance, let's say that goes into row. Type of insurance, sorry, adequacy goes into column, row goes into this. And once again, some cleaning up, formatting. So we go, we go to this. Sorry, I'm trying to clean it up. Formats. This is not what I'm trying to do. I don't know what's going on with this. But yeah, just kind of clean it up, make it all nice and clean. In this case, let's see, format cell, make it a number separator, and that's that. And it's all, looking nice and clean now, and it's all done. So yeah, I hope this kind of shows you the ease in which it is to create a pivot table in Excel and in Google Sheets. And in the third objective, we are going to go into trying to get information out of the sheets that two tables that we've created. Do have a lovely day.